Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another True Purpose podcast. Of course, my name is Jeremy Graham, and I'm the president and founder of True Purpose Ministries. And we're excited about today's podcast. We have been, talking about in other podcasts about our clinical program. And as everybody knows, we have a discipleship program that is, of course, a year long. But we also have a clinical program that is inside of that for 90 days that somebody comes in and they'll do intensive IOP treatment with us here at this location while being housed in our sober living. And then, of course, after that 90 days, they go kind of basically fall right in with the discipleship guys and they get a job and start getting their life back. And it's just amazing. And I have with us today Heather Webb. She's our clinical director over our clinical program, and she joined us about 6 months ago, something like that.
About 6 months
Yeah,
ago.
about six
hmm
months ago, and we have just been really excited where our clinical program is right now. And I know in the clinical world there are a lot of clinicians that go through the schooling, but they've never been there. Um, you're going to hear from Heather today a little bit about her testimony and how she has actually been there. She's been on drugs and alcohol, and so just I love it because it just brings it home to our men and women that we have in this program. And if you are out there thinking about coming into the clinical program or thinking about coming in True Purpose Ministries, this is, of course, who will be doing your groups and who's going to be counseling you. And so I just want to get you to let you get to know her just a little bit by her testimony and just to know what to expect when you come in. So, Heather, if you don't mind, I talked earlier about how you've been there. If you don't mind, just tell us a little brief testimony about where you came from and why you decided to get into of course, the clinical world and the drug and alcohol treatment world.
Okay. Well, I'll give a little testimony about
Okay.
my life very quickly,
Okay.
synopsis through my life.
All
So,
right.
my childhood, I did not feel like I fit in my family. I was the black sheep of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I had anxiety. I worried about what people thought of me. So I have that background.
Mm-hmm.
So I started dieting and losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
and I got compliments.
Mm.
And eventually I became anorexic
Oh boy.
first.
Mm.
I already had the addictive gene in me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made me feel good. Something made me feel good finally in
Sure.
life. So I became anorexic. Um, and then I kind of went to a couple hospitalizations for that.
Mm-hmm.
When I got out, I met different people that were involved in drugs. I didn't
Mm.
even know. I come from a background where I didn't know what heroin was. I thought it was in the textbook.
Wow.
So when they were saying they were using dope, I was like, okay.
Mm.
So when it was offered to me, I tried it. And again, it made me escape from all my problems.
Yeah.
It made me be like, wow, I feel content. I've never felt this way.
Mm.
And I think from almost day one, I was addicted to heroin,
Wow.
lived in my car.
So you started with heroin. Like you didn't start with alcohol or weed or anything. It did it go straight to heroin?
Well, no.
Okay.
I did start with
Okay. All right.
alcohol,
Gotcha.
marijuana,
Okay.
but
All right.
none of that kind of gripped me or
Oh yeah,
made
definitely.
me
Yeah.
escape.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it gave me the content feeling.
And
And
this was in
then,
Pennsylvania, right?
yes, in
Okay. All
Pennsylvania.
right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I was addicted. I thought it was fun. I actually had a family. I fit in.
Mm.
Um, and eventually it wasn't fun anymore when you're living on the streets and you're living in your car. So I
Mm.
got help.
Mm.
I went to one rehab and I didn't listen to a thing. I said, of course I'm going to get better.
Mm.
So I
Exactly.
didn't listen to anything, but I wanted to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I relapsed and
Mm.
I went to 6 different treatment centers and finally got better. And
Wow.
finally the addiction was lifted from me.
Okay. And so after you came out of that, I guess you started to feel like, hey, I really want to help somebody else with the same thing that I have been battling for most of my life. What started kind of steering you to that direction to becoming an LPC?
Well, honestly, even when I was a child, I wanted to help other people.
Hmm.
So that was ingrained in me is where can I make people laugh, smile? When I became anorexic, I knew I wanted to be a therapist because someone touched my life, a therapist touched my life.
Sure.
Then when I got clean, that was such a longing because I went through such an ordeal,
Sure.
such a heartache.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to spread the message that you can get clean.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about our staff here. Like I said earlier, is that we have all of our staff have, of course, been in that life, and they simply just want to help somebody else because they came out of that life as well. And so that's what you'll see here at True Purpose Ministries. We're just simply going to walk alongside of you and basically tell you what we did to get off drugs and alcohol. But one thing I love about you, Heather, is that you've been through the schooling to bring that evidence-based model through, to True Purpose Ministries. But not only that, you have your experience as well. So, one thing also that I liked about you when we were talking about, of course, hiring you was your experience in trauma and just what you, of course, thought about trauma and addiction. And I don't know if a lot of you have done statistics, but there is a high number of addicts who have been in significant trauma, especially childhood trauma. We know what is called the ACE study. Of course, a lot of people are able to fill that out, but one thing I found about the ACE study is not a lot of people are really honest with that. But we have seen with True Purpose Ministries that trauma is in close to 90% of our individual's background, and so that's why we really want to talk about trauma here and deal with the trauma. So, if you don't mind, just briefly talk about that. Talk about what you've seen in addiction versus with trauma, and just talk about how you like to deal with people that has had trauma.
Trauma. I when I was helping people and a clinician, I saw that my basic understanding that people have been through much more, maybe than that I've went through of sexual abuse when they're children. So I started wondering how I can help them. My first thing was I study the brain and what happens to the brain when you go through traumatic situations.
Sure.
So I realized if it's fight or flight,
Yeah.
you don't go through just mild anxiety anymore. You go through extreme anxiety because your brain goes to that trauma.
Sure,
It's already
sure.
went down that path.
Sure.
So that means that you have to do preventative things for anxiety, and then you have to learn coping skills. And then you need a lot of love, and you need God, and you need to go back to the beginning of someone's life and kind of put the pieces so they have clarity
Sure.
of maybe why they got in these situations, why they act the way they do. So when they get clarity and understand themselves that they're not just a bad person.
Yes, that's good.
So basically, yeah.
Okay, that's good. And talking about that, and this is going to lead us to our next question. In groups, with something that you do in groups. The other day, we had an individual. Of course, won't mention his name, but he's rough. He's tough. Got tattoos all over him. Been incarcerated a lot of his life. But during a group, the Lord touched his heart, and he really was willing to talk about what happened to him. And so I hear a lot about your groups, and I hear a lot that the men really enjoy your groups, and ultimately what we want to see out of the groups is that they really deal with what has caused the addiction and got them to this place. But if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about the groups and about what people experience in the groups, and what you try to do in the groups with the individuals.
My basis is that first I pray and I ask God to come into any group or any therapy I do first.
Yes.
Because I believe God can work through people and hopefully me and all the group members.
Yes.
So as a group, I think that God can work through each member, and if somebody is sharing about something, they can relate on some level. So that person doesn't feel alone. So everyone chimes in, and it becomes like a conscious, group conscious.
Okay.
Conscious.
That's great.
Conscience.
Okay.
And hopefully God works through and kind of tells them what they need to hear. So when we come all together, the groups seem to be productive, and they feel supported and understand it, and they're not the only ones.
Sure. Okay.
So
That's awesome. Well, I tell you, I have seen great success in the men and the women that I have seen. Of course, we were in a court the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't mention what courtroom that was, but we were in a
Mm.
courtroom the other day, and the judge and the DAs and the probation officers, they all stood up and they said, you know, we're just amazed at what we see in the women. And I remember one DA, he said, I don't know who y'all are answering to or who is in charge of this, but it's working. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't, you know, I knew he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about Jesus.
Mm.
And again, I'm just seeing the success in such a great, you know, just a great understanding of a success. And I just really want to tell you, Heather, I appreciate you yoking with us. I appreciate you coming alongside of us and providing this treatment to these individuals because, again, they are coming here because they want Jesus, but also they want state license treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just phenomenal what you're doing, and I appreciate you coming with us.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Well, hey, if you would like to come into True Purpose Ministries clinical program, anything that we have to offer, of course, we are always asking you to go to our website, and that is truepurposeministries.com, and you will see many buttons on there that you can choose a program that you would like to go or to enter into. Click that button, and then it will walk you through a short application. And of course, Carlos Garcia, who we've had on the program many times, he'll be giving you a call, and we will try our best to get you in ASAP. As of right now, we do have a small waiting list, but you know, again, that is it's happening to where we're able to get them in quicker. We're having some guys transition out, and so please, just if you would like to come in, please take that next step. Please hit that button, and of course, give us a ring, and we would love to be able to help you get in. But until next time, we really appreciate you joining us, and we hope you have a blessed day.